Kal Kadosh, we wanted to share with you another beautiful idea on this week's Parashah to do with the small Alef. The small Alef actually comes, and the Kli Yakar says, teaches us that Alef is from the Lashon of limud, learning. How do you say in Hebrew, right, a place to learn? Ulpan. Ulpan comes from the word Alef, because in Iyov, in chapter Lamed Gimel 33, Pasuk Lamed Gimel, it says, Va'elefcha chokhmah, I will teach you chokhmah. And therefore, to teach us that somebody that wants to learn Torah or wants to learn, you have to minimize yourself. You have to come and you have to make yourself small. How do they say about a chacham? A chacham doesn't put himself into somebody else. He doesn't stop somebody else. A chacham, many times, he's quiet. He analyzes what people are saying. I still remember until today, there was board members, right, in the community. And I remember until today that I think there was like 7 board members. And then besides the 7 board members, there was the president, vice president, the secretary, whatever it is, the treasurer. There was another 4. I think it was like 11 people in total, whatever it was, right? But in the times of the Gemara, it was always Shivat Tuviyai, 7 people. But 7 board members, because you always need that it's not going to be equal, right? Not an even number, so that way they could always vote differently. So what happened was something interesting. They said there was always one person that he was always known that he would never speak at the beginning. He would always listen. And they were arguing, back and forth. All of a sudden, when it was his turn, that all of a sudden he came and he said something, he always used to say something, and it would shoot down everybody. And he was always like the right one. And they were all like, how could it be? This guy's always right. Like, what's going on? And the reason is very, very simple. Because he used to focus and listen, internalize and listen to every single idea. And this person said something, he's correct. The other person said something, he's not correct in this, but he's correct in something else. This one, he just knocked down what this guy said. The other one knocked down what the other guy said. He continued going. So first of all, by the time I'm going to come and I'm going to speak, I already heard all the differences of opinions. The ones that were already knocked down, I don't even have to say anything because they were already knocked down. So what do I have to say? I just have to be smart and say something that I analyze. Maybe I put 2 and 2 together, or I put 2 and 3, whatever. I was able to put everything. And now all of a sudden I learned. Because the person that wants to learn, they have to minimize themselves. The Rav Chida actually always used to say, right? The Rav Chida always used to say that when a person is wrong, they should always be happy. If a person is right, they shouldn't be happy. She said, why? Because if I'm going to be wrong, right, it means I just learned something. I was wrong. I just learned something. If I'm always right, I didn't learn anything. So why am I going to be happy? That I didn't learn. So why am I going to be happy? And that's why there used to be a minhag amongst Bnei Israel, right, that they always used to start children, they used to start teaching them Vayikra. And why would they start with Vayikra? Right? It's a Yalkut Shimoni, the Midrash. The Midrash says in Remes Tafa'intet, Lama matchilina tinokot lilmod min Parashat Korbanot. Why do they start with the Korbanot? So he says, just like the Korbanot are tehurim, they're pure, the children are pure. Children are pure. It's before the time that they have the concept of the Yetzer Hara, that they're able to come and to do this. So therefore, why? It starts, Sefer Vayikra is a Sefer that starts with a small Aleph, to teach you that we have to learn. And in order to learn, make yourself small. When you use a small Aleph, for Aleph Mina, right? El Aleph, Aluf, Ilupan, to learn. If you want to truly learn, minimize yourself. And that's one of the first ways in order to learn. Moshe Rabbeinu was only zocheh to the ma'alat sumah of his himself, to this greatness that he had, only because of this. Because it says, right, there's a hint that when the Bnei Israel, right, is brought down, that it's called Torat Moshe. Why is it called Torat Moshe Rabbeinu? Right, we say Zichur Torat Moshe. Why is it Torat Moshe? So he says, Yeshua ben Levi comes and he says, when Moshe Rabbeinu came down, the Satan came and said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where's the Torah? He says, go by Ben Amram. He went by Moshe and he says, Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you, where is it? So he says, what? What am I? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me the Torah. So Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Moshe. He tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe, are you a thief? Are you a liar? What's going on? He says, Ribono shel olam, chamuda genuza yesh lecha, she'ata mishtashe b'chol yom. The Torah is yours. I'm going to be machzik Torah that it's mine. It's not mine. It's yours. We took the Torah, but it's yours. It's your Torah. It's not ours. What are we? We are nothing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, since you minimize yourself, it's going to be called on your name. Because it's written, Zichru Torah Moshe Avdi. Right? Remember the Torah Moshe, my servant. And therefore you see that if you see the midah, the midah, this attribute of Moshe Rabbeinu, that's the anava. You see it already from the beginning, and that's what we already said from before, right? To do with the running after the kavod, right? As the Rabbeinu Bachai also says, that we find it by Moshe Rabbeinu, and so on and so forth. So therefore, it's also, right, the concept of learning. That when a person wants to come and they want to learn something, they have to learn, understand, minimize yourself, learn to hear. If we don't learn how to hear, we will never learn anything. One of the main concepts of doing anything is listen. When we listen, right, what happens? All of a sudden, when we listen, we start thinking, we start saying, you know what? He's correct. If we don't listen, we'll never be able to listen to them, to the other side. And that's why it's so important. A judge, he's disqualified if he doesn't hear both sides. Why doesn't he hear both sides? Because you don't know. They actually said a joke about the technology. They said, imagine right now you're screaming on the phone to somebody, right? He says, you have to understand one thing. If you don't put the other guy in loudspeaker, you can never give this guy the credit. Why? Because you're not hearing the other side. If you're only hearing this side and this side is only screaming whatever it is, you think, yeah, this guy's right. Look, he's screaming on the phone. He's telling him off. He said, but you want to hear the other side. If you cannot hear the other side, that means you didn't learn anything. You cannot understand. You cannot learn. Because for learning, you have to understand. You have to hear. And you have to minimize yourself. Only a person that minimizes themselves, they can learn. Where else do we learn this? Bet Hillel and Bet Shammai. Right? Why do we paskin like Bet Hillel? It says, you know why we paskin like Bet Hillel? They were anavim, and they used to teach the words of Bet Shammai even before their own teachings. Meaning, if somebody would ask somebody from Bet Hillel, what's the halacha? They used to say, Bet Shammai says A, and we say B. Only a person that minimizes themselves, like Hillel Zaken, from the anava, and also they're able to bring their shita before their own shita, that's called they minimize themselves, they're able to learn. That's how we paskin halacha l'maaseh for the everything until the Mashiach comes. Think about it. Just because they were able to minimize themselves and to be able to learn and to be able to give over the other shita even better than themselves. Many people, they could tell you the other shita, but no, what do I hold? I hold A. For them, yeah, but I'm not really sure what they hold. I'm not really, no. I know exactly. I'm able to explain their shita so well, I'm going to bring them first. And then I'm going to explain mine. Because I went and I wanted to hear what they have to say. And I could show you what they have to say. B'ezrat Hashem, I just hope we're able to understand this principle, right? In order to continue growing and learning in the paths of Torah and Yirat Shamayim, B'ezrat Hashem. Shabbat Shalom.